Scholastic Audio presents The Magical Reality of Nadia, Book 2, Middle School Mischief, by Bassem Youssef and Catherine R. Daly. Read by Lamis Isaac with Bassem Youssef. After she left language arts, Nadia felt like she was floating on a cloud. It lasted almost the whole day, but as she approached her social studies classroom, her last class that day, her spirits sank. Students had been raving about Mr. Ferrari all day long, but she knew that things weren't going to be the same without Mr. Decker. She opened the classroom door. Time to see what this new teacher is all about. "Whoa," she said. The classroom walls were covered in mosaic murals. Tall columns that looked remarkably like marble stood in each corner. There were several statues placed throughout the room. The new teacher had even painted the classroom ceiling deep blue and added twinkling lights for stars. Nadia reached out and lightly knocked on a nearby column, expecting to hear the hollow sound of papier-mâché, but the column was solid. Its surface was even cool to the touch, just like real marble. How had the new teacher pulled that off? The students settled into their seats, looking around in awe as they waited for Mr. Ferrari. The bell rang, but still no teacher. All of a sudden, there was a boom from the front of the room, followed by a cloud of blue smoke. Nadia coughed. As the smoke began to clear, Nadia could make out a figure. The new teacher was wearing a mask, a wreath of leaves on his head, a toga, and a pair of sandals. He stood stiffly like a statue. The class stared in stunned silence. Adam, who sat in the next row, turned around in his seat. "What the heck is going on?" he mouthed to Nadia. Nadia shrugged, returning her eyes to the togaed teacher. The man sprang to life. "What? No applause?" He threw his arms into the air. "Didn't like my grand entrance? I practiced all morning. I'm crushed." No answer. Una coughed, waving the remnants of hazy smoke away from her face. The teacher took a deep bow. "Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Mr. Ferrari, and I'm your new teacher. My job this semester is to teach you just how magical history can be." Nadia stared. Could it be? "Where's Mr. Decker?" a boy named Mark asked. "Why'd he leave?" Mr. Ferrari shrugged. "Beats me. Family emergency? Sabbatical? A winning streak on Family Feud?" He took a breath. "Whatever it is, he's not here, and I am. Don't worry, my teaching credentials are impeccable. I have a huge amount of experience. In fact, you could say that I've been a teacher for practically 3 millennia, but I promise not to rest on my laurels." Nadia let out a bark of a laugh. This was unbelievable. "So, can anyone guess which ancient civilization we'll be learning about this semester?" Mr. Ferrari asked. Ancient Greece?" asked a girl named Maddie. Mr. Ferrari gasped, his hands on his hips. "Do I look like Pericles to you?" Fun fact, Pericles was a Grecian general. He had a large head, earning him the nickname Squill, Sea Onion Head. He shook his head in disbelief and put his hands on either side of his mouth like a megaphone. "Paging Julius Caesar!" He dropped his hands down to his sides and became another character. "Yes, was someone looking for me?" he said in a deep voice. "Does anyone know what my last words were?" He looked around the classroom. "Give up. Make sure they name a salad after me." Not even pausing for a laugh, he pointed to his outfit. "And this is unmistakably a toga, worn only by Roman citizens." He leaned toward Maddie. You didn't think that this was a Himatian, did you?" Fun fact, Roman togas were circular pieces of cloth. Greek himadians were rectangular. No, said Maddie. Because that's Greek to me. Mr. Ferrari cracked himself up so much he had to lean against one of the columns to catch his breath. He pointed to it. And I don't need to tell any of you what kind of column this is, am I right? As I'm sure you all already know, the Romans were suckers for a nice Corinthian. He walked back over to Maddie's desk. Don't mind me, he told her. Greece was actually a fine guess. Maddie looked super confused. Okay, thanks, she said. With a whoop, Mr. Ferrari made a flying leap toward the next row of desks. Friends, Roman students, lend me your ears, he cried. He reached down and seemed to pull 2 gigantic fake ears out of thin air from the sides of Andrew's head. That broke the spell of confusion that had been hanging over the classroom. The students roared with laughter. The next thing Nadia knew, Mr. Ferrari was handing out buckets of popcorn to the students. Now where had those come from? He whipped off his mask, giving Nadia a big wink. Enjoy the show, he cried. Nadia gasped as the rest of the class cheered. It was him. As Mr. Ferrari began to lecture about the founding of Rome and the story of Romulus and Remus, Adam turned to Nadia, his mouth open in shock. Neither of them could sit still the rest of class. The end of class bell rang. Usually the students jumped out of their seats, eager to go home for the day. But nobody moved a muscle, not wanting to take their eyes off Mr. Ferrari. The teacher laughed and took a deep bow. Class dismissed, he said. He waved goodbye as the students reluctantly filed out of the classroom. Oh, Nadia and Adam, would you mind staying back for a moment? Nadia smiled. Sure. Adam nodded. After the last student left, Mr. Ferrari turned to the 2 friends. For the love of Tutankhamen, he cried. Get up here and greet your long-lost friend properly.